Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
Well, you know, it's Wednesday again. This is episode 145 of the Songwriter Connection podcast. Hey, thanks for joining us. Got a really cool guest that I'm going to introduce you to today. An amazing musician, songwriter, artist, getting a lot of attention on the Americana charts. In fact, my favorite station in town, WMOT Roots Radio, was playing the heck out of his last song. A song that Rolling Stone magazine wrote up and said, a monster of a jam rocker, a song called Virginia, which is still one of my favorite songs. Really cool. This guy has opened up for acts like Jason Isbell, Jacob Dylan, Lucas Nelson, Blues Traveler, Derek's Trucks, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Oh my gosh, Chris Isaac. I think probably eventually some of these guys will be opening up for you. I think it's Mike Miz. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great.
And that's M-I-Z, right?
Yeah, Mike Miz.
Yeah. I found something on YouTube, and I just want to show folks the kind of guitar player you are. It's just because you really are amazing. Really are. Okay, play. What's it? Play. Here we go. You remember this? You remember doing this?
Oh, yeah.
That ain't easy. That's crazy good. Is that an open tuning?
Yeah, open E, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. That is Himalaya? How do you say that? The name of the song?
Himalaya.
Himalaya.
Yeah, it's just a little play on words, you know? You know, H-Y-M, like a hymn. Himalaya.
Oh, that's what threw me off.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I love that. And that's just, that's open G, is it?
Open E.
Open E.
You can tell I was younger there because I was, I was playing it at about, Mach 10 or, I don't play it that fast.
Lightning fast, man. It's just amazing. Yeah. Now, you grew up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The Wyoming Valley, I saw. So you're the person to ask this question. I've heard it pronounced Wilkes-Barre, Wilkes-Barre, Wilkes-Barre. What's the hyphenated city in Pennsylvania? How is it pronounced?
I don't even know if they know. I call it Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre?
Yeah, but then other people call it all day. I don't think it's Wilkes-Barre. That's like not. But Wilkes-Barre, I hear that.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, I lived there. I should probably know. But
I think if you took a microphone and you went on the street there and asked people, they would all have different.
It would be different things. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Or if you're from the Northeast PA, you go Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre. With the accent, huh?
Yeah,
which I could never attempt to do. So,
there's a bit of a thing going on with that.
That's really cool. Now, you grew up there in a musical family.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I feel really blessed because my mom and my dad met at Marywood University, and they were both in the music program there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So and then growing up, I was literally just surrounded by music. My dad is like a killer guitar player. He was, had guitars in my hands. There's pictures of me holding guitars when I'm like 2-3 years. The guitar is way bigger than I am. There's actually an amazing picture. I posted it on my Instagram for Father's Day where I'm just this little kid. I got to be like 5 or 6, and there's like a Marshall behind us, and I got
Marshall stack.
Yeah, well, not the. I think there's like just a head or whatever. But I got the guitar in my hand, and my he's showing me like in that moment. I think he was like teaching me. It's just such a cool time capsule. But on the other side. So my dad is a great guitar player. On the other side, my aunt and uncle, my whole mom's family is a bunch of musicians and artists.
Wow.
But
and you're talking visual artists, right?
What's that?
Visual artists.
Yeah,
too,
both grandfathers. Yeah, were like really good artists, painters. But my aunt and uncle are still in this band called Old Friends. And they have just an unbelievable following in Northeast PA. They haven't really gotten much out of Northeast PA, but anywhere in, they have a reunion every year, and I think they've drawn upwards of 4,000 people will show up at this. Like, they draw bigger than, like, touring bands that come through that area, And so anyway, when I was a kid, my aunt and uncles and, my Uncle Paul, my Aunt Mary, my Aunt Paula, they would be playing guitars and singing, especially on the holidays and stuff like that. And then eventually, just one of the biggest things that happened for me growing up was when they started, when I got older, I think I was 12, they let me and my cousin play every year, like the old
I was just going to
Friends
ask
reunion.
if you ever had a chance to play along.
Yes, like the old Friends reunion still is like a big thing, and I think it's been maybe not as quite as a draw as it used to be, but still an amazing thing. But they would let us play on their set break, which was crazy. So yeah, I got to play in front of like 1,000 plus people. Like being like 12 years old, which is cool.
Cool. And eventually, you had a band of your own that did very well, huh?
Yeah, a couple bands. Yeah, I don't know if it would call it very well, but we did pretty good.
Some success.
Yeah,
certainly in the area. What was it called? What was that first band?
The first band I was in was called the Appalachian Barnhouse Band.
Now, were you kind of bluegrassy or no?
No,
we
were
hear
more,
Appalachian. You think.
Yes, that's another funny thing because everyone in PA and everyone that I know calls it Appalachian.
Do you know what? And I'm glad you said it because I was born in Buffalo, New York, right? It was always.
Okay.
We said it the way you do.
Appalachian, yeah.
And then when I moved here, people go, no, it's Appalachian.
Yeah, there's like that video of Tyler Childers talking about it, like saying like it's Appalachian. Yeah. I think he was making a point about it or something. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, it seems like anywhere south of like Maryland, it turns into Appalachian. And they probably are right. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. But no,
you say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah. Well, that's another funny thing. A lot of my family's from Pittston, PA. That's where I went to high school. Yeah. And they call that the tomato capital of the world. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they claim.
Wow. So anyway, back to the band. You did a little Appalachian style music?
Yeah, we were kind of like a blues jam band, electric guitar trio. My uncle, the guy...
Or blues, okay.
Some blues, yeah. We were into like the Allman Brothers and...
well, there you go.
Like obviously like Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff like that. Late 90s, he was still kind of...
Yeah.
Just, king, of the blues guitar kind of thing, or just a very forefront in any guitar player's,
Oh, absolutely.
mind at that point.
Yeah. You always love their twin leads and stuff. And that brings me to the next point. When I listen to your music and, like you stream on Spotify everywhere, I hear a lot of different styles mixed in that becomes like Ms. music, which is what I tell people and preach this on the podcast every single week. I mean, you can hear everything blues to rock to country. You do it all, and it all mixes into your own special sound, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm working on... molding that into the perfect thing, Sometimes I feel like it's gotten too far out. I had a booking agent one time that was like, came to see us playing. He's like, I don't know what I'm watching. You played a bluegrass song, you played a rock song, a blues song, you funky, like you got to
pick a lane, dude.
Like figure out what the hell you're doing,
Yeah, I guess eventually sometimes you'll have to do that, but
Yeah.
But right now, you mix it all up. That's what I tell folks, hey, you don't do that. Now you got a new song that came out just not too long ago, and I want to talk a little bit about it. It's called Heroes.
Yeah.
You self-penned this, and I know here in Nashville we do a lot of co-writing, and I know you write with Boo Ray a lot.
Yeah,
We'll get to him. But this one by yourself, so this must be a real special song. So tell me about it.
Well, yeah, before I moved to Nashville, I always wrote by myself. Yeah. I couldn't imagine... the way I looked at it is this was my song. Like, I didn't want to, have some, this may sound maybe too much, but I don't want anyone else contaminating my song. Now, of course, I've changed and I've grown and I've realized
this town does it to you, doesn't it?
Yeah. But, I think it's made me a much better songwriter now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, Heroes, it's funny. I was, we could talk about my story or whatever, things I was going through at that time, but
sure.
was going through a lot of changes in my life, but I actually wrote it the night that Greg Allman passed away. Oh, when I was a kid, my dad used to take me to see the Allman Brothers. He actually took me to see the Grateful Dead a few times before Jerry Garcia died when I was like a kid.
Wow.
And always felt like the Allman Brothers were, like one of my favorite bands, and then continued to see them as much as I could.
Wow.
Actually had a manager that at one point that worked for them was one of their attorneys. And actually was standing on the side of the stage. One of the last Beacon shows, we used to go to the Beacon, and he'd get us, backstage passes, and I got to hang with them and spend some time with Butch Trucks, and even Warren got to hang in his dressing room with it. But so anyway, when Greg passed away, it kind of was it was a turning point in my life and the end of So anyway, I sat down and I just wrote that song in 20 minutes, and then it was weird because after that, I don't know the exact timeline, but it seemed like it was then it was like Tom Petty, Glenn Campbell, Aretha Franklin, and they just kept going. And
You're
so that
right.
song has just become the sort of tribute to we're losing all these greats that were,
Upon listening to that song, that's what I was wondering with Heroes that you were talking about. It's really great. And I love Greg Allman's book. By the way, if you've never read My Cross to Bear, great book.
Killer book, yeah.
Killer. So.
Well, it's funny that one more point too on the whole co-writing thing. It's like also that song. When I look back on it now, I could see how I've grown as a songwriter. Because I think if I was to write that song again, I'd make it the point a little more clear on who it's about, what it's about. I used to write these kind of like sort of elusive lyrics that were just sort of like beating around the bush, which I still like. I like all kinds of songwriting, but I think I'd make the point a little more clear if I was to rewrite. And
that's the thing about Nashville songs. That's what they seem to want. And I always tell folks that come in from out of town, a little Nashville's good for you, but don't let it overwhelm you. I mean, still be you. True to you.
I love what you just said.
Really?
Because my first couple of years here, I just sort of... you're around the greatest songwriters in the world. You're around the greatest, and so you start. There was a while where I started questioning myself, and some people around me too. Yeah, were kind of pushing me in one direction. I think with good intentions, but in the last year, I think I've really reeled it back in where I'm starting to be able to. I can only be me.
That's right.
But still, I could still write songs that are right up the middle and easy to digest. But it's okay to still be me or write maybe a little bit of a meandering verse or elusive lyric if it fits the vibe of what the music is, or maybe the whole point of a song is just to make a mood or a vibe. Like, it doesn't always have to be this like really clear narrative, because that's what Nashville, a lot of them will tell you, and if it's not that, it's not good. But, listen to some Bob Dylan. I mean, it's like, it's all right, Mom, only bleeding. Like, what is that about?
I don't know,
but anyway.
Try to decipher that.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to Heroes, okay? And cool. We'll play it for you here.
Go with the wind upon your back. Don't ever worry, and just keep wandering that way. We're only here for just a moment. Don't underestimate the gift you have each day. And take time to get to know yourself. Don't burn your dreams for someone else. And cry if you wanna cry. And sing if you wanna sing. And love if you wanna love. You're all you got, and that's good enough. It's time you shine like all you can. I will go on now that my heroes are gone. Now silence fills my windowsills. My bedroom floors and dresser drawers don't seem the same. Search the dawn in all its glory, and now I'm seeing things in such a different way. And change is hard for what it's worth. There'll be some days it's gonna hurt. So cry if you wanna cry. Sing if you wanna sing. And love if you wanna love. You're all you got, and that's good enough. Now it's time you shine like all you can. I will go on now that my heroes are gone. just want to thank you one last time, 'cause you lit a fire in my mind. So cry if you want to cry, and sing if you want to sing, and love if you want to love. You're all you got, and that's good enough. Now it's time you shine like all you can. We will go on now that our heroes are gone.
Now that our heroes are gone. Wow. It's a great song. It's Mike Miz is our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Here comes Virginia again. It just wants to be played. I love this song. Can we play a little bit of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike Miz. This is what I keep hearing on the radio. This is a jam, by the way. Listen to that.
What you gonna say now, Virginia? What you got to say to me now? Looking for the light that's lost within you. Girl, you got to turn it on for me somehow. Won't you put an end to my suspicion?
The B3 organ in there like that.
Been losing track of time, all drowned in doubt. So open up your mind to my petition. Well, come on, tell me what's this all about? 'Cause I've been wondering where you're going late at night, staying out until the early morning light. I've been looking for a way to make this right, and I don't know how. I see you leaving little clues beside my bed. There's a circus going around the side of my head. Are you out there loving someone else instead? Won't you tell me now? I'm packing on my bags, I swear.
Mike Miz is our guest on the podcast Songwriter Connection. That is a great song too, man. Let me tell you. Not only are you a great player, but you're a great singer as well. You're the whole package.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
I struggled with the singing thing for a long time. If you heard
me too.
old tapes of me, I don't think you would say
Really?
that. Yeah.
Nah, it's hard to believe. Yeah, you got a cool style.
Funny thing about both those songs, I actually wrote Heroes and Virginia before I moved to Nashville.
Did you really?
Yeah, I swear to God. Those were the two I kind of showed up with that were sort of like, here's what I got. Here's my two best ones.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now, Virginia was your first Nashville release, though.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Recorded here?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met you, I was running a little writers round here on this side of town, which is the east side of Nashville. And my friend Trey Ackerman had invited you into his round, and he told me,
Trey.
he goes, have you seen this guy yet? And I go, no. He goes, you wait, just wait. That's right. You blew me away. It was great to have you there. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
The other thing we have, which also blew me away, reading about you, I started in radio in Northeast Ohio. I grew up in Cleveland. And one of my first paying radio jobs was doing jazz on a station called WKSU out of Kent State University, but they were really big in all of Northeast Ohio. And they did a show that was a progressive show, a progressive style music. Late 70s, we're talking. It was called Fresh Air. And I was really proud to be a part of what they did because we had quite the cult following up in Northeast Ohio. And we played bands like the Mothers of Invention, Zappa, lots of Zappa, but we played bands like Gong, Lil Cream, Kevin Godley, the stuff that the radio just normally ignored. Genesis before they were really popular, things like that. And one of the bands that we played and would feature from time to time was a band called Gong. And I loved them. These are guys that came from, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they were from Australia, I believe, but they broke it out of Paris, and we used to play the heck out of them. They just more progressive, psychedelic kind of fusion jazz style. And they come into the Mike Miz story, don't they?
I mean, yeah. I think I come into their story.
You come into their story.
But yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Sure, that would be.
Yeah, sure. That was actually it's an amazing thing that happened. I was playing in a local band at the time. One of my many, local band, I had a bunch of them, from Northeast PA. And there's this club called the River Street Jazz Cafe that so many people have played over the years. And that club was just a sort of melting pot of like anything that was going on locally, new bands, popping up. And the owner or the guy that booked that club is actually personally responsible for getting me multiple touring gigs and setting me up with all kinds of people. And that was the first one. So they had a spin-off of that band called Gongzilla.
Gongzilla.
Yeah, which is an interesting band name. But if you knew the gong thing, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he would always put me opening for bands. Like when Jimmy Herring came through or anybody, he'd have me open, which was really cool of him. And we opened for them. They played or whatever, cool, we hung, and then they literally called me the next day and said, hey, I don't still know what was going on with their guitar player. I think they might have fired their guitar player, whatever, but they said, we love your playing. Do you want to join the band? Wow. And I was like, I was kind of confused. This is actually really funny though, because I actually didn't really know who they were, right? Until, so I think I might have hemmed and hawed about it or just was like, oh, thanks, that was cool. And they said, well, just so you know, we're going on tour in 2 months or whatever, and your first gig is going to be in LA at the Troubadour with members of Frank Zappa and the Mothers, Jeff Pivar from David Crosby's band, a bunch of newer bands like Humphreys McGee, Mo.
I love Humphreys McGee's. Yeah,
all those guys that were playing. And I just was like, are you kidding me? Wow. But the funniest part about the gong thing is that still I was like, okay, this is cool. I've never toured, I never did anything. I was about 23 at the time, and So the bass player, they're from all over the place. But the bass player, this guy, Hansford Rowe, one of the greatest people I've ever worked with, an unbelievable musician, he lived in Montreal. So he said, could you come up to rehearse for a weekend? Come up to my house. We're just going to go through all this stuff. So I drive up there. I get to Montreal. We're sitting there. We play for an afternoon. We're hanging out, have dinner. And we were just winded down. He started playing some old records for me. And he had all the gong, some of the gong records out. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, oh, which ones did you play on? And whatever. He's handing me them. So I flipped this vinyl over, right, the cover of the album. And I'm just looking at it. And on the bottom of the vinyl, it says, with special guests, Mick Taylor, Mick Taylor from the Stones, Steve Winwood, Alan Holdsworth, all these legendary people. And I just was like, what the hell? And then I started to realize, who these guys were and what they did. I wasn't really aware until I was actually in the band. The stuff that those albums, Espresso and Espresso 2, Pierre Moreland, this drummer he was led the gong thing for a while that are just unbelievable, wow. Man. It's just some really high level jazz rock stuff, so.
From what I understand, Steve Winwood lives here in Nashville now. We've seen him out.
I know his daughter. I'm friends with his daughter. She's really cool, but I haven't seen him. I don't know. Yeah, I know I definitely lives here.
Maybe this
did live here part time. Yeah,
maybe
his wife's from here, from what I understand.
Oh, okay. Well, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Man, wow. So you stepped on stage at the Troubadour, 23 years old, playing lead guitar.
Yeah, I was shaking in my shoes. I never did anything like that.
Wow.
They made me play a guitar solo before Jeff Pivar, and then he just it was just
So how do you play with your hand shaking? Is there a trick?
You know what? I think I pulled it off.
Pulled it off?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well.
Imagine you did.
That's when I kind of started to really... it's funny. I've been thinking about this moment a lot lately because I could go off on a whole other tangent about... I switched the way I held the pick. I used to hold the pick backwards, in this weird... If you watch Pat Metheny play, I kind of held it he does. And at some point in that band, or Bond, the other guitar player, well-meaning, he just was like, hey, you hold the pick. He's like, you ever try holding it this way? And when I started trying to hold it, quote-unquote normal,
the plectrum.
It changed.
It's called a plectrum, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it changed the way that I played. And I thought about it, and I wasn't playing as intuitive. And it's been a huge struggle for me because that's still to this day, I'm flipping it back and forth. But anyway... Hansford one time, we were playing actually, I think it was in Albany, but he turned to me after the gig and just made this great comment, or after one of my solos, and he was like, man, you're going to be one of the best if you keep playing like that. And it really gave me,
that's great.
Inspiration or whatever, yeah.
Crazy good. Yeah, yeah. We're known for live music around this dining room table here, the old Duncan Fife, and we've got this Martin guitar over there, and I'm wondering if I can coerce you to pick it up, maybe
Yeah.
play a song for us.
Yeah, you got it.
Gives a little taste of that Mike Miz style.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got picks all over, Mike. They're probably, I know there's some in the vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cats like to knock them off the table, so I always have lots of picks lying around. So.
I got a couple new songs, and anyway, yeah, I'll play one of the newer ones. You know,
Great, that's awesome.
Yeah. Am I good to go?
You're good to go.
All right, this one's called "Birds Don't Sing."
All right.
Just another 2 cents. Tell me now, am I the only one? Or did the darkness come for good? Strangle out the light one. A caged bird sings a pretty little tune, but dreams need wings if they're ever coming true. And there's no time left, ain't no use to wonder why. I guess that's what we get. Too many chances have gone by, and the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. We're hanging by a string, we didn't listen, we were warm. Racing towards the finish line, out of gasoline and time. We didn't listen, we were warm. Now the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. There's fire in the wind, communication breaking down. How the hell we ever get this thing so turn around? Stand up for the weak, argue not concerning God. Stay off a gravel road if your horses ain't been shot. 'Cause there's no time left, only moments we're alive. And the worse things get, the more a reason to be kind. And the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. We're hanging by a string, we didn't listen, we were warm. Racing towards the finish line, out of gasoline and time. We didn't listen, we were warm. Now the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. And I remember when the water, it was clean enough to drink straight out of a stream. Like we were planted in the garden on a great big blue marble, and given everything we'd ever need. Now the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. We're hanging by a string, we didn't listen, we were warm. Racing towards the finish line, out of gasoline and time. We didn't listen, we were warm. Now the birds don't sing, and now the birds don't sing like they mean it anymore.
Live around the dining room table, it's Mike Miz, M-I-Z, and he is streaming everywhere. That's a little new song that we are going to talk about on the other side of this. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
We're streaming everywhere, including YouTube, and if you're listening on YouTube, click that like, and subscribe, or as we say down south, mash. You don't push, you mash them. Mash them buttons. I'm just learning this. I've been here 10 years. I still learn new things. Like when you go grocery shopping down here, you don't have a cart. You have a buggy. Did you figure that out yet? Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah. A buggy, yeah.
It's a buggy.
I've heard that.
It's a buggy, yeah. First time I went to Kroger's, this guy goes, if you're done with that buggy, I'll take it. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Buggy. There's nothing funny about that. That's what they call it down here. Okay. Anyways, I'm a recovering Clevelander. So anyway, Mike Neese is our guest. That's a great song. Just before the break, we heard Birds Don't Sing. And an amazing picking band. No pick there. You're finger picking that.
Yeah.
And I can't, and I think there's a songwriter lesson in that because that song, if strummed, would just not have the same effect, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about your style.
That song in particular came from during the pandemic or whenever we were all.
Yeah, you got here just in time for the pandemic, didn't you?
I had a good year first.
Did
I
you?
got a whole year in before that.
Oh, there you go.
And then I actually went. My grandmother passed away. She was 91, a long life. And I went up there, and the whole thing started up there. So I actually spent the first 4 months of it. I just stayed with my mom in upstate New York. But anyway, I was going crazy learning. Lindsey Buckingham, Never Going Back Again. You ever try to figure that song out?
No, I never have.
Oh, that's a workout, man. So anyway, I think that song came out of the same type of sort of. Is it Travis picking? I don't even know, but kind of keeping that alternating bass going.
Right.
And then my buddy,
Travis. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then my buddy was. We were trying to write this other song, and we, you ever just we're just trying to write it, just breaking our, just not getting anywhere with this other song. And he just comes off with this line. He goes, well, I don't know. I just thought of this line the other day. Birds don't sing like they mean it anymore. And I just thought, oh, that was cool. I think he was watching some apocalyptical movie or something.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot going on during that. That song, I wrote it maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But just some lines in there too that I thought were cool when we started writing, things were kind of going haywire, and it was the worst thing.
Because that was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It does seem like the birds were not singing like I mean it anymore during that. Yeah.
But it was also the worse things get, the more a reason to be kind.
Yeah.
Just trying to, say, hey, the world's maybe wacky right now, but let's not forget, to be nice to each other and stuff. So
that's really cool. So you've got a new project that you're working on. Is that going to be on? That's going to be on it? That's all?
Yeah, so I have to figure out. So that's a good point. So I'm doing a solo acoustic EP, which is pretty much almost done. Or actually not solo, there's some other friends, but very stripped down acoustic songwriter EP that I got, a couple songs. The Heroes is actually the first one that's going to be off of that. But,
okay, good.
So that's the part of, we had a little bit setback, but, we're back on track now. And that's such a cool song just by itself.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm almost thinking maybe I'll put it on that, and then because I'm also working on a full band record that's going to get tracked here in February and March.
Okay.
Big, full band,
Might make it on the full band one too.
Well, we tracked it. So I did this session with Steve Marcantonio. Do you know him?
I don't.
He was a very famous, engineer. Had worked with anyone from, John Lennon to Taylor Swift and everyone in between. So he just recorded a version of that, it came out really killer.
Wow.
It's funny. It almost came out. A lot of my records and things that I did are some of them are kind of lo-fi sounding. His version is so crystal clear and so good and just done so well that it almost was made me uncomfortable because I never had anything that sounded that good before. I was like, holy crap.
Wow. First time you heard it just blew you away, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that me?
Yeah.
Did I do that right? What studio do you use here in town?
I've been all over.
All over?
I feel like I've been lucky, man. I've just gotten to know some really great people and have.
Yeah, you have, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just this town has been so good to me, and I'm glad, But anyway, I recorded that at Blackbird, and I'm doing some stuff at Blackbird right now. That's where the full band record.
That is fantastic. Is that a phone?
I don't think it was mine.
Okay. Wasn't mine.
That was weird.
Oh, weird. Oh.
Ghost in the Machine.
Ghost in the Machine. Yeah.
Could have been I have no idea. Anyway, but my last album, which we should actually mention, I put a whole nother full band album out less than a year ago, was done at this place called the Studio Nasvhille, which is the Wood Brothers own.
Okay.
Is part
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're great. And Jono from the Wood Brothers he actually played on the one song on my acoustic EP that's coming out, and he played on a bunch of that last record. But that album we did live to 2-inch tape, which is something I've always wanted to do.
Wow.
And so my whole last record was done pretty much live with the
Analog, are you talking?
Yeah. Live with the 7-piece band, straight to tape, analog thing,
It's got
mistakes
a certain
and all.
warmth, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And mistakes and all, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like we do this podcast.
Exactly.
Same way. Well, I really admire that. Yeah. And so is any of this available on vinyl then? Let me ask you that.
Wait, what'd you say?
Your songs. You can put the new ones on vinyl?
So the new record, the one that just came out about 8 months ago, is everywhere on vinyl.
It's everywhere on vinyl.
It's been doing pretty well too. Yeah, it's like I already had to send a distributor like another load of vinyl because they sold out of the first batch.
Where can we get? I gotta have it.
It's everywhere.
I'm a vinyl
it's
junkie.
It's also the first time in my life that you can literally go to Barnes and Noble, Best Buy, and just type up. It's called Only Human. Mike Miz, Only Human. It's actually they did a record store day thing, which is cool on their website. I didn't even know this stuff either. And then the label told me, I'm on this indie label called Blackbird, and they were like, "Oh yeah, your album."
No, they're not affiliated with
no
Blackbird
relation
Studios, right?
to Blackbird.
Okay.
Everybody gets that confused. Yeah. I see how that could be very.
I wanted to
confusing.
ask. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. But yeah, when they told me, I was like, "Oh, this is incredible." The album's it's all Amazon or anything like that too. But
good.
Yeah.
We'll get one. You sold another one. I'm sold.
Awesome.
I'm a vinyl junkie.
I think I might have one in my trunk. I could give you.
That'd be great. Let's talk about Blackbird Studio versus labeled Blackbird Studio here in Nashville's state-of-the-art studio owned by John McBride, who is the husband of Martina, and a great live sound guy as well. And he has this school here in town that my nephew went to, Blackbird, and they teach both live sound, Academy, right?
Yeah.
And studio out of there. So pretty cool place and nice sound.
It's funny, yeah. So it's funny. It's on the subject of Virginia too. So I did a day with John producing.
Did you?
Yeah, and it was just a crazy thing that just happened. But he actually hadn't heard Virginia, and he just had us run through a couple songs to get going. And so we played Virginia, and he loves that song. So he made us play Virginia 7 times in a row. Wow. But I actually have a recording done, with that band, with Jerry Pentecost playing drums, like a killer band, done by John McBride, which someday I think I'm going to release as like a little extra somewhere or something too. I'm not going to say it's better than the one that's out, but it's pretty darn.
Oh, that's awesome.
There is a special sauce to that studio, the way that drums sound, and I was singing actually through Martina McBride's like vocal, like they have like a box there that says like "Do not touch." It's like her vocal mic and her little signal channel. Because he was there, they let me use it, which was cool. But yeah, funny.
I got to interview her once when I was working in Cincinnati radio, and it was really kind of a funny story, and I'll share it with you. She was in town singing the national anthem, and I think it was like opening day or something for the Reds, and John came into the studio with her.
Oh, cool.
And she sits down, and I kept telling myself, I was prepared for the interview, and I kept telling myself, you're going to be fine. Just don't make eye contact. She's got the most beautiful eyes in the world, And John at the time, a lot younger John than had these guns, man, big biceps and stuff. And he's like looking at my questions and right over my shoulder, and I'm like, I'm a little intimidated, Not enough to be intimidated by beautiful eyes Martina McBride and her golden voice. But now I got her husband over my shoulder. After a couple questions in, though, he thought, hey, he's cool. And he left, and it was just Martina and I, and we just had a really good time. I did make the mistake of looking up and making eye contact and totally lost it. I turned to Chris Farley like, you remember that time when you did that song? That was awesome. So, but anyway, we got through. So, yeah, so that's cool to record there, man. A lot of legends in there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Man, you have done a lot of cool things in your ear. You know what? Let's do the question. All the stars align. It all happens for you. Where you at? What's going on? What's the ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal?
Where you at? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all I've ever wanted to do was play. I love making records and playing live music, writing songs, making records, playing live music, and I've had some, massive setbacks in my life. Did you notice the first thing, by the way, was writing songs? Did you know that? Oh,
Did you know? I'm talking to the folks at home.
The song's there. If you don't have the song, what do you have, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I think that if I had to pick one Not that, I couldn't pick a favorite or anything like that, but what Neil Young is able to do as far as walk out on stage in the same evening, right? He could walk out on stage with an acoustic guitar and just absolutely just capture everyone's attention and kill it. Can. But later in the same set, he could be out there with Crazy Horse playing ferocious rock and roll. And that's all I've ever wanted to do is play my songs to people that enjoy it, and hopefully the situations are better. As I've gotten older here, you start to, you think of other things. Like I think of like traveling now, stuff like I would just love to be able to have a nice my own hotel room every night, and like a nice someone else, because I drive, so it's a lot of driving. It's like have someone else driving and just have a nice place to sleep and a good sound. Good sound. That's like
it's so important.
Just to know that every night of a quote unquote tour or whatever, that there'd be like if I had a same sound guy. And those are my real goals: a sound guy and a guitar tech. I play all these songs in different tunings. And it's just like, man, you either have to bring 5 guitars with you, or you have
if you're
to
Jackson
tune.
Brown, 25 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think of more along those lines. Would I love to be, playing sold out shows at the Ryman or Bridgestone? I mean, what artist wouldn't? Of course I would.
Yeah.
But just like I'd love to have an actual legit, operation going where I could actually really focus on. Performing well and being at peace and ease and know that some of those things are sort of covered and taken care of.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine how important it is to have your own guitar tech. Some of you trust.
I played a New Year's Eve show at the Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre, this beautiful old theater on New Year's Eve, and I had my buddy Jared. He works for like Brentley Gilbert and stuff, but he's from the same area, and so he's like, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna help you, and man, it made my whole evening so much easier.
Oh yeah,
he just handed me the guitar,
and you knew it was going to be perfect.
He was right in tune. Yeah. It was just like
the other thing, sound guy, and if you're new to songwriting and playing out, and that's something I encourage you to do, especially you throw your songs out to a live audience. You will know. I mean, if it's standing the test, you're going to get instant feedback. But the sound guy can make or break you, and you want that guy to be your good friend.
That's another really great point, because this New Year's show, there's another local band up there that they're really really great for themselves, called Cabinet, and they had hired this sound guy, and I feel bad I don't remember his name, but he's worked for some massive people, and the sound was so good, and it just made everything. It's like if the sound isn't good, it's just and when I do come across a situation like that, I'm so grateful for
Me too. I want to meet him. I want to talk to him. And thank them. I played at a little place on the west side of Nashville called the Why Not Saloon. This was last Tuesday night, and I'd never been there. I knew it used to be called the Red Line, and it reopened. And I was just amazed at how great the sound was. I mean, it was nearly perfect. And they had a decibel meter hanging on this post near the bar, and I'm watching it bounce around. I'm going, whoever's doing this is pretty serious about their sound. Yeah. So I introduced myself to the manager who was behind the bar. He goes, "That's me." And I did live sound my entire life.
Oh, wow.
He worked with Skinner and a lot of different, and he goes, "I tuned this room, and it's perfect. You go anywhere in this room." And he's right. His name's Robbie, and I can't wait to get back there.
Oh, cool. I haven't heard of that place yet.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Why Not Saloon? Pretty cool. East Side, kind of Bellevue area. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's neat. But yeah, it can make or break you. So the sound guy is your best friend. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard of folks that will tip the sound person from time to time.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, I don't know. But yeah, take care of it.
I've done that. Oh, yeah.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to hear another song, and you're playing My Martin guitar, and it's never sounded better than it has right now. Mike Miz is our guest. Pick that puppy up, and let's get another song out of you here around the dining room table.
I really love this guitar. This is a very, very, very special guitar, just so you know. I've played a lot of Martins in my day, and this thing is killer. Let me just tune this real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. You tune it up. Tune whatever you need to do.
You don't have to tell me that you love me just because you're crashing at my place. And
when the sun comes up, it's alright if you need to disappear. But I sleep better when you're here. You don't have to come home in the evening and run down all the details of your day. And I don't want to keep you from your friends or your career, but I sleep better when you're here. Yeah, you don't have to tell me that you miss me. You don't have to tell me why you didn't call one time last week. But when I'm on the run and the day is done and the night is drawing near, I sleep better when you're here. Well, I know you can't be crazy about my cooking, and I don't think you really like my dog. But I just want to make sure that I'm making myself clear, 'cause I sleep better when you're here. Tell me that you need me. There's no need for you to tell me that you feel some kind of way. But when I'm on the run and the lonesome comes, I think of you, my dear. I sleep better when you're here. You miss me. You don't have to tell me why you didn't call one time last week. But when I'm on the run and the day is done and the night is drawing near, I sleep better when you're, yeah, I sleep better when you're, well, I just sleep better when you're here.
Nice. Mike Miz is our guest. New song, huh?
Brand new, yeah.
Wow.
No one's really heard that one yet.
Solo writer? Did you have a co-writer?
I wrote it by myself.
By yourself?
Another one that just kind of popped up.
Now, you write a lot with a guy named Boo Ray, which I've heard that name around town a lot. Judy Pastor's been on our show a couple times. Writes with him as well.
Yep.
Cool guy, as I understand it. How'd you get to know him?
Yeah, it's a great. This is an amazing, cosmic story. When I first moved here, I was supposed to be moving with a buddy that I had known from Pennsylvania, but the place fell through, and these things happened, and I had already been selling things off and packing, and I was coming, and now I suddenly don't have a place to live. And my buddy, another great songwriter, Bob Lewis, who I write with, he said, I know this guy Boo Ray is looking for a roommate. And I was like, who the heck is Boo Ray?
What's a Boo Ray is what I asked Judy.
So I ended up, he had this house in East Nashville, and I moved in with him. And we just if we're feeling each other out, I'd always hear him practicing writing. And then within a couple weeks, we just start picking up guitars and playing. And now he's my main person that I write with. We have, sometimes you just click with someone.
Yeah, you do.
It seems maybe like an unlikely couple, but we've written a lot. He wrote Birds Don't Sing, that one with me. He's the one that had that line, Birds Don't Sing.
No kidding.
Yeah, wow. and a lot of the last record, the Only Human record, he pretty much co-wrote almost every song. I think 8 out of 10.
We'll have to look him up too.
Yeah, send him over. Yeah, he's he's.
Tell me when I'm on the show.
What's that?
Absolutely. Tell me when I'm on the show.
Oh, okay.
Well, come over.
I'm sure he'd love to. Yeah, he's a trip, man.
There was another lady that you brought over to the 12 Keys that night. I think it was you, named Zandy.
Yeah.
Is an amazing singer.
Yeah.
I've been listening to some of her stuff, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's my ex-girlfriend.
That's your ex-girlfriend? I'm sorry I brought that up.
No, it's fine. I mean, she's doing really well,
Yeah.
We just got signed to Big Loud.
Did she really?
Yeah. And
congratulations,
a couple of the
Zandy.
songs that we wrote, wrote. The one in particular, two in particular, just got cut by what's his name, Joey Moy.
Wow,
who's like a big producer and like some of my favorite studio.
Look at you, Nashville
guy.
Songwriter, huh?
Yeah. So
About that.
I can't wait. I'm like cheering her on, like, let's go, come on, let's get these songs out.
Awesome story, very cool. You know, we talked, and I mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to clear it up a little bit. I talked about that you could be too Nashville and to just hang out at yours, but I want to backtrack a little bit and say one thing. I think that it's really good that you know the rules before you break them. The style song that you just wrote right there, that one we just heard, is an interesting style. You throw that hook out in the verse,
Right.
and it's really kind of an AABA, as we say.
Yep.
And you weren't afraid to throw that hook out in the verse, and a lot of people in Nashville will say, no, you hang on to that hook to the last thing and make that chorus soar. But you know what? Not every song is like that.
Right, and it's funny you said, because that song, the chorus, I thought it was just going to be just a verse with the hook on the end of it, verse and then a bridge.
Yeah.
But then my buddy was like, well, no, the bridge is the chorus. So then I was like, oh, I guess it's the chorus.
Yeah.
And then I actually changed the form like 3 times. Like by the time that song comes out, it might be changed again. Right now, it feels okay to me. It feels good.
I think it sounds
But
great.
I grew up listening to Dylan, man. You know, like the whole Blood on the Tracks album.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Is just verse with the line. You know, blame it all on a simple twist of fate. That's it. There is no chorus. Tangled Up in Blue. There's
Tangled Up in Blue. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah. There's no real chorus. Every verse ends with that.
Ends with that.
It's kind of a refrain, I guess they would say back in the old
I think
days.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Find your style. Yes. Learn the rules, and then if you break them if you can.
Yeah.
If you're successful with it. So those are the lessons, I think. And we learned a lot on the show today. We learned what a great musician, singer, artist Mike Miz is. That's a name I want you to remember. Look him up. You're streaming everywhere. M-I-Z, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mike Miz, yeah.
Yeah. It's
My
Irish,
last name is Mizwinski.
Mizwinski. It's Irish, right?
Well, I'm half Irish, though, actually.
Are you really?
I'm half Irish, half Polish. Yeah.
Are you really? Okay.
The name thing has been tough. I've thought about changing it because there's the wrestler guy, and I don't know. It's just
there's another Mike Miz out there.
Well, he's Mike the Miz.
The Miz.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no intention of ever putting the in front of it, so.
No.
And he's also not a musician. I think I'm okay. I don't know.
I think you'll be
Might have
okay.
to address that at some point, but.
Very cool. Thanks for being our guest today. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and play a few songs and talk with us. And I'm a big fan, and I'm going to keep an eye on you, folks. I want you to do that too. Mike is streaming everywhere. We listened to it on Spotify here on the show, and I wish you all the best. And with the new product, when you get that new record out, I hope you'll come back and see us. Okay?
I would love to. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
All the best, man.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.